It is a fact. We found that out. And for us to say now, for me personally, my vision and view and strategy right now is how to raise parents. That's why I have a parenting conferences and workshops where I teach parents how to recognize and understand their child. When the child comes home, Mommy, they bullied me in the schoolyard. They beat me up and called me little black boy. And he gets into a fight. All right?
True.
He was provoked. As parents, we have to say, Johnny, I understand your pain. We are going to work on this. All right? And you as parents, you may not have all the answers, but find the teacher in the school and say, my child has been exposed to this. How can we, you notice the word, we help? In Africa, and I know you're from Africa, it takes a village to raise a child.
That's it.
But I am saying as well that you need to know who are the members in that village that you're going to entrust with your child. So you
came to my mind while you were speaking. So let's say that the next generation, let's say for example, my daughter, the next generation, who's Afrocentric, let's say she now gets married to someone that is not from her African background. Let's say she gets married to an Italian or a Portuguese or I don't know, some other background.
Yes.
Is there a way that she can still carry on that legacy?
I love this question.
Because when we think about our children, we are thinking that our children are only going to stay within our culture. We need to also realize that our children will marry outside of our culture.
Yes.
So I'd like to know what you
Yes,
think about that.
and I love that question. I am mixed culture with Indian. My children are, my grandchildren are. The point about it is that first and foremost, we are children of God, the creator of this universe.
Right.
And if we marry an Italian man or a French white man, we have to know how to talk with him, all right, to build, right, that legacy and continue for that consciousness and sustainability. So that man, if he's a French man, a French white man, because love, you cannot direct love and say, I'm going to only marry this African man.
Welcome to another inspiring episode of the Heroine Show, where Heroine lead, uplift, empower, inspire. And today we are here on the table with my co-heroine on the show. The Heroine Show is a platform that honors women, diverse visions, women that are educators, healers, creators, and change makers, and who are transforming lives all over in different sectors of life. But today I want to shock you that we have one of the most incredible educator, inspirator, wonderful host, special host in our midst today, who in the person of Dr. Marlyn Morris. How are you today?
I'm great. Now that I'm sitting behind you and beside you and in front of you, all around you.
I am very sure that my co-hosts, which is Mokshi and Kim, are very excited to have Dr. Marlyn today.
You're welcome so much to our show.
Thank
so
you.
happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
We're so happy to have
Wonderful ladies.
you. Thank you.
You're welcome. This is a long waiting show, and we are glad that you're here today.
Thank
So,
you
Dr.
kindly.
Marlyn, our topic today is focusing on building conscious, resilient, and sustainable Afrocentric family relationship.
Yes.
That's a wonderful topic for us to discuss today. And I want to come to our guest, Dr. Marlyn. Please tell us, what do you have in mind before you came with this topic?
Yeah.
What do you want us to learn from this topic today?
You know, and I know that we are from out of Africa, many of us. Some were born there, some were transplanted and sent to Caribbean and all over the globe, actually, as part of the slave trade. And so for us, when we speak about Afrocentric, we're not only speaking of the people out of Africa themselves, but people in the diaspora, right? Born outside of there. But we seek unity of purpose to make sure that we all can work together to build this new legacy of value for our children and the generations yet unborn. Because you know, and I know, that we are living in an environment today that do not value us because we are supposed to be black and invisible. And that's the colorization that came out of history and the colonial era. And so now we are given a chance to come together, not to be silos, but to work together so that our now generation, the young ones, like what we call the alpha generation, and the ones in secondary school, these are the ones we call the Gen Zers, and the ones a little older than that, right, that we build them, nurture them, socialize them, right, in this Afrocentric, meaning togetherness of all the people out of Africa, all right, wherever we are, to build that resiliency consciousness so that we can rise again, all right, and not stay back and be black. Because there's a saying I was taught years ago, and I want you ladies to learn this. I was told, if you're black, stay back. If you're brown, stick around. And if you're white, you're all right. Okay? I'm not teaching this thing. I am building awareness because we are in a country that says, you know, we want diversity and inclusion and anti-racism. And there's a lot of talk. But we now need to sit together and be one, united in purpose, to bring this Afrocentric people together with purpose so that we can rise again. Okay?
So
that's my purpose.
Inessa, thank you so much. This is a very deep and powerful section we are in right now. And I want you to phrase it so that our viewers can understand. What does it mean to build a conscious Afrocentric family, and how is it different from that of traditional and Western family model?
All right. Okay, so the word operating for Afrocentric. We give birth to children in this society called Canada, all right, where we are multicultural too. And when we look at it, right, when we look at statistics, when we look at a lot of that, who are the children that are left behind? Think about it. The children that are left behind are generally the Afrocentric children, all right? They are labeled. And I am an educator. I teach them from tiny tot right to university, master's degree, all right? So this has bothered me. And my aim is to build that consciousness, teach parents how to. Don't just talk the talk, but walk the talk too. All right?
Walk the walk, just talk the talk.
No, don't just talk. All right? We have to show how. And if parents do not know, those of us that have more knowledge should share this knowledge. How do you nurture that child? And I always say, you know, when a woman gets pregnant, the first thing she should do, right, is touch her stomach. I'm happy I'm going to have a child. Maybe she isn't, but there is somebody that's growing in there. The first question, how am I going to raise this child? Am I going to raise this child like my mother raised me or my father raised me? And if you said, no, that is a red flag. It means that she was not happy. And that first question is telling her, you have to do differently for this child. How you nurture, and you start nurturing from there in your womb. The way you talk, the way you eat, the way you act, because we are mind, body, and spirit. And as a mother pregnant, all right, we must be able to start from they are in our womb.
So in essence, what I'm getting now with your scenario that you use is that despite the fact that an individual was not well raised, does not mean that you have to neglect the better way of raising your generation, your children, just because you are not well raised.
Yeah.
You can as well raise in the right way and devote the time and commit the service that deserved by raising that child well.
Yes, yes.
To change the narrative, to redefine your success, to redefine what you need to get, if I may say. And that brings me to another question. In your view, because I know this section where you're going is deep, very, very deep, right? We're going to open it up very well. You know, does it mean that to build conscious Afrocentric family, how can parent and caregiver awaken cultural consciousness in children growing up in a globalized or westernized world? How?
Yes.
How can they?
And Canada is a very good example. We are multicultural, all right, heritage-wise. And we have to share one space called Canada, all right? We meet each other in the schools, in the churches, in the library, in the community center, on the games field, etc. Our Afrocentric children, right, are there. But we as parents have a responsibility to change the narrative. We don't want them to grow up thinking that they are behind and invisible. We have to be conscious enough now to say enough is enough. I must get to know how to. All right? And if I don't know as a parent, I must find out. How can I raise little Johnny to be strong within his culture and understand who he is, and that he's not to be left behind and feel neglected and feeling unwanted? No, we have to find the answer. And if we don't know it as parents, go and seek from others who may know. You know, I'll come and say, Reverend, you know, I have little Johnny, and he's being bullied in school, called all kind of names, and he's very sad. How can I help him? And you should say, well, you know what? I can direct you to, you know, Miss Blake and Miss T. These people will help you, and I will help you too. We must take responsibility as parents. If we don't know, find out how to. Or we leave our child at the mercy of the society.
So basically, we are looking into the role of women and mothers as pillar in the family restoration.
Yes.
So if you can mention some of these problems that have affected our children or children out there due to the lack of parents being given them the right training, nurturing.
That's a very good question, because I belong to Ontario National Alliance of Black School Educators. And we do research, and we find out, or we have found out, right, that right here in the Peel region, our young black boys, once upon a time, were called schizophrenic, and they were troublemakers in school. They're labeled that way. This is not a joke. It is a fact. We found that out. And for us to say now, you know, for me personally, my vision and view and strategy right now is how to raise parents. That's why I have a parenting conferences and workshops where I teach parents how to recognize and understand their child. When the child comes home, Mommy, you know, they bullied me in the schoolyard. They beat me up and called me little black boy. And he gets into a fight.
That's
all right?
True.
He was provoked. As parents, we have to say, you know, Johnny, I understand your pain. We are going to work on this. All right? And you as parents, you may not have all the answers, but find the teacher in the school and say, my child has been exposed to this, how can we, you notice the word, we help? In Africa, and I know you're from Africa, it takes a village to raise a child.
That's it.
But I am saying as well that you need to know who are the members in that village that you're going to entrust with your child. So you go to the school and you tell maybe it's a principal or the counselor that, you know, my son Johnny is being bullied in school, and they're calling him all kind of name, little old black boy, and, you know, things like that, and he's feeling very despondent.
Wow.
How do we help him? Tell me how I can, as parents, help him. And that is why I push the partnership approach to raising these children.
Wow.
The partnership between home, parents, and school. All right? The partnership between school and church and community. All right? We have to pull together and learn as parents, what is it that we need to do now to be able to be prepared, right, mentally, to help our child?
Wow, thank you so much.
We don't just leave it up like that.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's very interesting. And teaching children cultural identity and generational healing, I think is part of all that, to help them, groom them to be stronger. Yes. And when our children are stronger, then it give us less problem. So we need to devote time on that.
For example, you know, sometimes we say to the children, they are bullied in school and so on. And there's a thing called Black History. Black History Month comes, we celebrate Black History Month. But what does it really mean to that black boy or that black child or girl, whatever you want to say? What does it mean? Have we ever asked them, Johnny, Black History Month, what do you think of it? What are you getting out of it? This month is a month where we have to look and engage our children. What is it they know and what is the gap?
Wow, this is very exciting. This is very exciting. Okay, Heroine Moshi, I want you to come and tell us about the resilience, strength, emotion, and healing adaptability.
Oh yeah, for sure. And building emotional strength or resilience within us family is about creating an environment that supports coping with stress, adversity, and challenging in a healthy way.
Nice.
So let's talk with our guest about when we talk about resilience, not as a survival, but as a transformation. How can Afrocentric, when we're talking about this, families turn into intergenerational trauma into resilience and growth?
That's a very good question, because, you know, when we talk about the word resilience, we are talking about looking at what we are going through, the pain and the suffering and trauma, all right, and see how we can heal from that. And it's very important. If we don't do this, we are going to find out our children maybe suffering because of relationships in the home between mother and father. They are learning that. They see mommy and daddy maybe quarreling, fighting, that sort of thing, and it resonates with them deeply. All right? And they now suffer that trauma. They take it into the world of adulthood because they saw mom and dad doing that. And they don't know how to build good relationship with their new spouses or girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. And the trauma continues. So we have to be careful and notice when our child comes and say, mommy and daddy, I don't like where you're quarreling. You know, daddy, why do you do this to mommy? Mommy, why do you do this? Right? You have to be strong enough to say, Johnny, I'm very sorry about this. That happens, but let us see how we can manage it and heal. And don't be shy. Explain to the children. They are knowledgeable. They know. Don't hide away from them. Remember to say, I am sorry. All right? To your child. There's nothing wrong in that. To begin the process of healing. And let him understand or she understand that that has happened, and mommy and daddy, we are sorry that that has happened. But we are going to plan to do better. Let's now start with how, whenever you see mommy and daddy, will say, come to us. Let's pray together. Let's explain it. All right? And we promise we will not do it again. And as parents, you have to. All right? And that's also the other part of sexual predators in the family, right? That cause the children to be less than perfect. They are not aware, their self-confidence is lost, they can't manage themselves and everything. So we have to heal them with the C's, the self-confidence, the self-management, understanding who they are, right? And be careful as to how we relate to each other in the home as husband and wife.
That's very important. But let me just say that so that our viewers will hear that. What I'm hearing you say that parents should not feel big or feel to be too much to apologize to their kids.
That's right.
When their kids is having emotional trauma or feeling negative about them, right? So viewers, parents should be able to apologize and then correct
And explain.
Correct whatever is not understandable, which is very pleasant.
Yes. And sometimes if you don't have the answer in the home, say to the child, I'm very sorry about that, but we can talk about it. Maybe we should go to the pastor or the counselor.
So thank you so much. We are going now for a break.
Okay.
So we'll be right back. Stay tuned, don't go. We are just starting.
The People's Blessing Show is back and better. Get ready for a whole new season of the People's Blessing Show. Meet real people with real stories and exceptional accomplishment. This is the People's Blessing Show Hall of Fame series.
Hall of Fame is a series to honor individuals who have made significant impact in our community.
Celebrating
A master's degree and make my way in the world.
So educate.
Not a lot of people know about me and where I came from. So,
Join
I know
Reverend
you
Blessing
have
Ajayi
series of
in the Royal Room
information.
as she shines the spotlight on icons who have inspired our community to do better. This season promises to be inspiring, informative, and entertaining. Showing on the Black Community Canada Television every Sunday. Connect with us on socials at People's Blessing Show.
Welcome back to the show. Heroine Mokshi, you were talking about the resilience before we went on break.
And as Dr. Morris was just sharing with us, that we have to lead by example. That is the most important part. As parents, we have to practice self-regulation. We have to take a break, pause sometimes, because as we all know, our children are watching us. So we have to actually give them a safe space where we are not judgmental when they are sharing their information, their views with us. We should be actively listening to what they are sharing with us. Maybe use I statements, saying that I feel like this instead of a blame game.
Yes.
So I'll come back to you, Dr. Morris, again.
Yes.
And I would like to know from you some more practical ways families can build emotional resilience.
Okay. I love that question because, as I was saying before, it's important to learn what you don't know. Find out what you don't know and put it into practice.
Yes.
There's some simple strategies that we could use. As I said before, begin the conversation with your children. And when you don't know, find out. But there are other things that you could work together as a team. Journaling. Yes. Today, you teach your children how was school today? And they will write it down in a journal. Today, I was bullied at school. How did you manage it? And have that family time where you can say to Johnny, well, all right, tell me, what did you do then? I went to the teacher, and what happens? Well, the teacher just says something to everybody, and were you happy? No. So as parent, you can say, okay, let's look at it this way. Next time you go to school and that happens to you, this is what you do, all right? And you teach them how to pray or even meditate or even to build a journal now that will build their resilience, but you have to teach them how. So it has to become a family practice, all right? Because they don't know it often. If they're older, like, secondary school, for example, then you say to Johnny, all right, I want you to do a research. You have your smartphone in your hand. I want you to look for, how do I manage bullyism in school? All right? That is a direct question. As parents, you're going to ask him because he has the phone in his hand. All right? And he can search. He knows how to. And then you come and report to mommy. You see, mommy and daddy, this is what I found out. Do you see what is happening here?
Wow.
So he becomes a researcher for his own problem and how to solve it. But he's older than the little Johnny who is 5 and 6 and 7. Okay? Now, the parents now come into that because what he has discovered, he's also teaching you. And together we learn. The family that learns together stays together. And you're building that new practice. Meditation is also very important too. And playing games where they are learning out of those games how to manage stress. All right? And you know, I have a lot of experience like that growing up.
Yeah.
You don't want to hear what I go into.
No, but let's come to that. I think this is a moment. Can you share on a real life experience, critical moment or impactful moment that you have been able to handle, and what was the success?
Yes, well, knowing me, I grew up with my mom and dad. They were Christian people, and my brother, 2 of us in the family. My father was always a preacher, teacher, and everything. All right, he used to teach the village children because he worked as an overseer in a sugar estate in Jamaica. All right, and when he looked at laborers' children, they were not going to Sunday school, they were not learning anything, and he took it on himself. All right. And we had to learn. We learned at school and at home. He used to teach it at home. We never like holidays because when we are leaving school holiday, we're going home to work still. All right. But it did good for us because we were very bright and you can see what I became. All right. And my dad always say, one thing I ask of you, just be strong. Just don't be bad. I was bullied in school because I was too bright for them. They would come and throw away my lunch from my table, all right, and say, go, you must eat pig food, you know, that sort of thing. But that's children. But because of my upbringing, Dad always say, pray, all right. So when they did that, I would cry in the corner and pray to God, please help me, God, please help me, God. And then I would go home and tell my mom and dad, and they pray with me. All right. They say, never mind that. You're strong. You're God's child. That's the reinforcement that my parents gave me. But I was bullied because I was very bright. And even now, people want to bully me still. But I tell you, you know, because the healing must start at home too. You understand? So you can manage yourself. It's a long story, but you know, in a little gist about it, we have to be there for our children.
Yeah.
All right.
Kim, okay, so you come with your question for our guests.
Yes, I'm going to take over from Heroine Mochi. Dr. Morris, can you tell us a little bit more on, sustainability? What does that look like in the context of Afrocentric families, and how do we ensure that our family legacies endure beyond our lifetime? How do we pass that on to the next generation?
That's a very good question, because this is what we are talking about, the healing and managing the situation, reducing the trauma. And once they're healed from that, with the unity of purpose in the family, right, they get lessons that they can pass on to their children. All right. So when they would have got married to their spouse or whatever and have their children, they will remember what mommy and daddy did with them. And that passes on to their children. That is the legacy, the sustainable legacy you want to build. Because when we are dead and gone, right, our children will be nurturing in the same fashion that we did to them, that caused them to be resilient. They're conscious of what they need to do, and for this legacy to continue on throughout the generations to follow. Okay?
I'm going to throw a question out
in a nutshell.
I'm going to throw a question out to you, something that just came to my mind while you were speaking. So let's say that the next generation, let's say, for example, my daughter, the next generation, who's Afrocentric, let's say she now gets married to someone that is not from her African background. Let's say she gets married to an Italian or a Portuguese or I don't know, some other background. Is there a way that she can still carry on that legacy?
I love this question.
Because when we think about our children, we are thinking that our children are only going to stay within our culture. We need to also realize that our children will marry outside of our culture.
Yes.
So I'd like to know, what do you think about that?
And I love that question. I am mixed culture with Indian. My children are. My grandchildren are. The point about it is that first and foremost, we are children of God, the creator of this universe.
Right.
And if we marry an Italian man or a French white man, we have to know how to talk with him, all right, to build, right, that legacy and continue for that consciousness and sustainability. So that man, if he's a French man, a French white man, because love, you cannot direct love and say, I'm going to only marry this African man. No, love is everywhere. And so when you get into a relationship to marriage with a man of a different culture, you have to learn cultural acceptance and understand this culture and see where you both come together in that understanding so that you can create that legacy of value of mixed culture. Look at all the best practices, all right, to educate your children so that mommy and daddy, they're different, but they come together under that single mode that we must honor the different cultural heritage that we come into being with. All right?
Yes.
And I do that all the time with mine. You know? All right? I love all of them. All right? And if it's Indian, right? Full Indian. I like my Indian food and my dal puri and all this kind of thing and everything. And it comes there, yes. All right? My son is married to a full Indian. All right? My grandsons are mixed and they look like you. All right? So the point I'm making is this. For that sustainability and legacy, if you marry another culture, you need to understand the culture and intermingle the culture with the cultural skills that you need to sustain this life.
Wow.
Right. Well, I'm so happy I asked you that question, because a lot of times when we talk about our background and our culture, we're only thinking about us here. We're not thinking those who may go beyond that, and it's good to know that we can incorporate that.
Yes.
Our cultures and our values and our
and you can talk to me anytime if that's your plan.
Okay, so we're gonna take you from there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wonderful section. But today we'll not forget to celebrate our wonderful guest on the Heroine of the Week. She is the Heroine of the Week. In fact, you deserve to be celebrated even multiple times, you know, in this platform and anywhere in the world, because of your incredible person and what you have done. You're educator. You are an educator. You have impacted lives. You know, even to us. You know, every day as family, woman, community is awesome. So we want to celebrate Dr. Marlyn as the Heroine of the Week, and Mokshi is going to read just a brief bio about her. She always said that this is too short, but well, we'll make it longer. So tell us about Dr. Marlyn.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to introduce Dr. Marlyn Morris. She's a dynamic educator, legal expert, and a community leader with PhD in LLB honors and multiple certifications. She's the founder of several organizations, including Morris Training and Consultancy Services and Destiny Leaders Community Education and Development Services. Recognized globally, she has received awards such as Canada's Top 100 Black Women to Watch, the International Women Achiever Award in 2017, and Diversity Award in 2021. UN Women Caribbean expert and OCIC Gender Equality Hub member, Dr. Morris is dedicated to empowering lives through education, leadership, and advocacy.
Whoa!
Thank you. Thank you.
And you know
Honored-
something, she's
honored to have
a
her.
legal professor.
Yes.
And I think she have about 3 professional or whatever
Designation.
So it's so much. In fact, your bio is so long. In
Yes.
fact, but we have to cut it short. But we appreciate you, ma'am.
Yes.
We
My dear,
appreciate
I'm
you,
proud
ma'am.
of your
about
Even
achievements.
you're teaching, you're still teaching, you're still imparting, motivating, enforcing. If you don't want to hear, you must hear. And we really appreciate you, the work you're doing to impart in women, family, children, which is our future. We just want to say thank you and we celebrate you. God bless you. God bless
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
And
I'm
before
humbled.
we end this, I wanted to ask you, is there any final words or piece of nugget that you would like to leave with our audience before we end the show today?
Yes, there's a takeaway.
Yes.
I want every family listening to this, right?
Word of encouragement.
The word of encouragement is that your children is your legacy into the future generation. And sometimes we say, how will we be remembered? Right? You are going to be remembered when you raise your children to be strong, resilient, conscious, and it is passed on to the generations yet unborn. Because a great-great-grandmother did that. The legacy is there. So that is the thing. Always make sure, right? You don't know what's going to happen when you die. But you know what? The generations to come from your loin will learn lessons to help them to be strengthened and to be able to live sustainable livelihoods.
Wonderful.
Okay?
That is a good encouragement for
Thank
our
you, ma'am.
viewers, those who have children and those who have grandchildren as well.
Yes.
So we want to thank you so very much for leaving that with us, and that is something that we can carry on in our daily lives.
Thank you, ma'am.
Well, thank you. Mokshi, do you have anything for her?
Yeah, it's great. Thank you for sharing all these wonderful experiences and your golden nuggets. I think it was great having you, and we are honored to have you today and celebrate you.
Thank you. I love your smile. It's powerful. That's another thing. It's powerful.
And also, thank you so much, Dr. Marlyn, for sharing your truth, the
you,
tools, and for building a conscious, resilient, and sustainable Afrocentric family relationship. We have gained a lot today. And to our viewers, thank you for watching. Don't forget, follow us on social media. Send your message. If you have any question, send it.
Yes.
Make sure that you send it. Go to Black Community Canada Television on YouTube and then send us message. And we would love if you can share and tell the story
And look
about
out.
what we are doing.
And tell them to look out for my parenting workshops.
Okay, you tell them that.
And also, yes, no, it's very important. Look out for these workshops,
Yes.
community development, and I'll be on this television
Yes.
as well.
Wonderful.
Okay,
So look out.
So don't be shy. Ask me anything.
Okay.
Send it to the television. I'll answer your question. For
Okay,
you.
thank you so
Okay?
much, viewers, for watching. See you in the next episode.
See you.
And
Don't forget the hero and the heroine in you.